Are you struggling to control temperature on a charcoal grill? Or are you just getting into this grilling game and you don't know where to start? If so, this is the video for you. Now, this video, I'm talking to a certain group of people, right? I'm talking to those of you who have struggled, who are struggling with controlling temperature on a charcoal grill, or those of you who are new to the grilling game and just don't know where to start when it comes to temperature control. That's who I'm talking to. For those of you who've been grilling a while, you already got this whole temperature control thing down, this video may not be for you. However, I do encourage you to stick around because they do say iron sharpens iron. You know what I mean? We're all in this craft together. We're all in this learning, and you might pick up a thing or two along the way. All right? So, with that being said, let's move on. Now, for those of you who have tried to grill, temperature control, it's just not working, I need you to do something before we proceed. I need you to take everything you have when it comes to temperature control on a charcoal grill, take it out your mind and put it on the shelf. Right? We got to take it out your mind and put it on the shelf. That's your old operating system. And you just told me it's not working. Right? I'm going to give you a new operating system. What we don't want to do is install this new operating system without first uninstalling the old operating system, because they're going to fight each other. You're not going to be ready to receive what I have for you. All right? So clear your mind, put it on the shelf, and it's okay. You can do it. You just said it wasn't working. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. You know what I mean? So take it out your mind, put it on the shelf. Those of you new to the game, you already got an open mind. All right, let's break it down. When it comes to controlling temperature on a charcoal grill, it comes down to 3 laws. I call it the fire balance system. 3 laws. Let's talk about law number 1. Law number 1 has to do with fuel, right? Law number 1 is don't overload your grill with fuel. Law number 1 is all fuel related, right? All fuel related. Before we get too far, let me go back. These 3 laws are like knobs, right? Our first knob is going to be fuel. I'll tell you what the second and third laws are. Here are in a minute. This is how we control temperature. Your understanding of these 3 laws and how they work together, because they're coupled. What I mean by coupled, they're connected. When you turn one knob, it can affect the other 2. You turn the middle knob, it can affect the other 2, right? 3 laws. Those are our knobs we control. So when you go to your oven or your stove and you're controlling a knob high-low on a charcoal grill, that's what it is. These 3 laws are the adjustments we can make. All right, adjustment number 1 is fuel. So let's talk about that law. I said don't overload your grill with fuel. Law number 1 is you knowing how much fuel to use for your specific cook, for your specific grill. You know what type of fuel to use for your specific cook, your specific grill. Yes, types of fuel. You can use charcoal briquettes. You can use lump. You can use wood. You can use chips, chunks, splits when it comes to wood, right? So your understanding of what to use when it comes to fuel, how much to use it, and then how to burn it, right? There are different burn techniques you can use when it comes to fuel, and how you burn it affects the temperature, right? I know there are levels to this, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to simplify it for you, right? So let's go back. Law number 1, don't overload your grill with fuel. You have to determine how much fuel to use for your specific grill, your specific cook. Not just how much, what type, not just what type and how much, but how you're gonna burn it, right? That's law number 1. So we're gonna build on this. Keep law number 1 in your head. Now let's move to law number 2. Law number 2 has to do with air. That's when our vents come into play. You got an intake vent, or you may have multiple intake vents, and you have exhaust vents on your grill, right? That air is gonna come in, it's gonna feed our fire, it's necessary for combustion, It's necessary for our fire to burn. Then exhaust is gonna flow out the grill, right? You gotta have adequate airflow. Now, law number 2 is don't rely too much on your vents for temperature control. Don't over rely on your vents for temperature control. That gets a lot of people tripped up. And it's law number 2 for a reason, right? If you mess up on law number 1 and you overload your grill with charcoal and you violate that law, law number 2 is not gonna save you. Changing the vents, adjusting your vents, opening and closing only gives you a small amount of temperature adjustment, right? It's for fine tuning. If you build your fire wrong, if you have the wrong burn technique, if you use the wrong type of fuel, the wrong amount of fuel, you're not gonna be able to fix it with just vents, right? It's gonna be a problem. Because think about it, what does your fire need? Your fire needs adequate airflow. If you choke a grill down and you have too much fuel, or you don't have the right amount of fuel, what's gonna happen to the quality of that fire, right? More than likely it's gonna smolder. It's not gonna burn cleanly. So you may hit your target temperature if you choke it down, but what have you sacrificed? You sacrificed the quality of your fire, right? And it could then impact the quality of your food, right? So when it comes to air, the biggest breakthrough for me when it comes to air and thinking about this is thinking about when you go camping, right? Campfire, bonfire, where are the vents on a bonfire? You don't choke air. You let the fire breathe, right? So a lot of times when I'm on the grill, I have the intake wide open. I'll leave the exhaust wide open or halfway and just let my fire breathe. Because when it comes to controlling my temperature, I'm relying more on law number 1, my fire, how my fire is built. Then I'm less relying on law number 2, and I'm just gonna let it breathe how it wants to breathe and not choke the fire down. Does that make sense? So law number 2 is air, but law number 2 is also don't rely too much on vents, right? Don't rely too much on vents. And if you mess up law number 1 with fuel, don't rely on law number 2 to save you. All right, it's law number 2 for a reason. Law number 3, food placement. That's right. People overlook this. Where you place your food on the grill is another form of temperature control. Simple. You place your food closer to the fire, it's gonna be hotter, right? Food's gonna cook faster. You move it away from the fire, you can slow it down. That's all that is. Remember that. This is when we get into 2-zone cooking. This is when we get into indirect cooking. So food placement is part of that fire balance system, the way we control temperature as well. So now we got 3 laws, like I told you, right? And they're coupled, they work together, right? So how you control temperature on a charcoal grill is your understanding of these 3 laws and how they work together. And when you understand these 3 laws, you don't need to ask anybody how much charcoal you use because you know how much to use, right? When you understand these 3 laws. Now let's go back to law number 1, which was fuel. And that's what I got to break down for you now. We got to talk about, well, Keith, you said it was fuel, air, and food placement. But how do I know how much fuel to use? How do I know which type of fuel to use? And how do I know how to burn it? I'm glad you asked. When it comes to that, I want you to keep something in your mind. It's an acronym. It's a mnemonic called FIT. F-I-T. FIT. Right? The amount of fuel you use, the type of fuel you use, and how you burn it needs to fit your grill and fit your cook. All right? F-I-T. The F stands for fire structure. What are you doing? Are we cooking direct? We cooking indirect? Or are we cooking 2-zone? If we're cooking direct, it's easy. If you're direct grilling, you plan on using the whole grill, just a single layer of charcoal. for using briquettes, right? I'm assuming briquettes, single layer. Start there, right? That's a good place to start. Now, if your grate sits closer to the coal bed, you might need to dial that back some, right? A single layer may be a bit too much. You may need to have just a few pieces down there. I don't know. How small is your grill? How large is your grill? Because fit means the amount of charcoal you use needs to fit your grill and fit what you're cooking, right? So if you're going direct, start with a single layer and adjust from there, right? So we're at F, fire structure. We've got direct, we've got indirect. If you're indirect grilling, you may be able to get away with a little bit more charcoal, right? Indirect. We also have two zone. Two zone means that, hey, we plan to maybe go indirect first and we'll sear sometime later on. Two zone fire, right? So as we work through this, the whole point is to identify your fire structure so that when we calculate it and determine our estimate, we know fire structure. So keep that in mind. The I is intended temperature, right? In order to determine how much fuel to use, you need to be thinking about what temperatures am I trying to hit. Am I trying to cook smoke roast something 375, 400? Or am I trying to go low and slow 225, 250? Am I cooking a brisket? Am I cooking a chuck roast? Am I cooking a Boston butt? You've got to think through that. If you just putting charcoal on the grill without any consideration of your target temperature, your intended temperature you're trying to hit, don't be surprised when that doesn't work, right? You got to think about that. So think about intended temperature. And the T stands for technique, burn technique, right? We have a few techniques when it comes to grilling. You may hear someone say, you may have just a simple burn. That's where we'll use all lit charcoal, right? From the beginning is a simple burn. You'll have the Minion method, right? And you have the snake method. The whole point here is that you don't have to light all your coals at one time. That's another part of temperature control, right? You don't have to light all your coals at one time. The Minion method is a great method for low and slow grilling, low and slow barbecue. You start off with a bed of unlit coals and you add a fewer number, 2 or 3 lit coals. And what that is going to do is light over time, right? And that's going to help you get a low and slow controlled fire, right? Technique. The snake method is similar. It's used a lot on kettle style grills, right? Weber kettles, things like that, where you'll position the coals around your grill in like a domino fashion. You light one end of the snake and gradually it'll start lighting the other coals, right? So what I'm giving you are burn techniques, right? This is what you can put in your toolbox in order to help you maintain control on a charcoal grill. And it's something that you got to consider when you're turning those knobs, right? Those 3 laws, right? Those 3 laws. But we're on the fuel side now. So you got the Minion, you got the snake, and you got just a simple burn. But the whole point of that is knowing how to implement these burn techniques is another way to maintain control on a charcoal grill. I hope that makes sense to you. So we went through those 3 laws, right? Let's go back over them. Law number 1 is fuel, right? It starts there. If you don't set up your fire right, if you don't have the right amount of fuel for your specific grill, your specific cook, well, I went through that calculation with you, right? I gave you everything to think through in that fit framework. If that's off, laws 2 and 3 are not gonna save you. They're not. Get 1 right. Law number 2 with the vents. If you get your fire right, you'll find that you'll be less reliant on your vents. That's what I found over the years. Man, that was a time I used to tweak vents and get frustrated, and you tweak this, shut it down, and it's taking a long time to come down. No, when you get your fire right and you have the structure right, you can be less reliant on your vents, and you just giving this fire the air it needs to draft how it wants to draft, right? That's how you balance it out. And food placement, You can move it around as you see fit. So that's the fire balance system. That's it. That's it. Now we went through that. I know that some of you may need a little bit more structure. Some of you may need to spend a little bit more time with it. That's where I sat down over the past few years and just captured everything I'm telling you. Reflected on decades and decades of grilling experience, my my successes, my failures, and that's how I came up with this, right? Because I said there's got to be a better way, and I just logged and journaled every session, reflected, refined it, and that's how I came up with this framework. Not just to help me, but I wanted to simplify it and try to communicate it in such a way that it can help somebody else and kind of demystify this whole grilling thing, right? Because yeah, grilling comes easy for some people, but not everybody. Not everybody, man. Some people, we got to break it down, right? May take us a little bit longer to grasp certain things, and that's okay, because that's why we have this framework. So if you need some additional help, I've got some digital products that can help you. If you want to take that next step, check out my Grill Smarter bundle. I'll drop it down below. We go into all this detail. I go into the science. I go into application. I try to give you the why behind grilling. That's my intent. Because what I found is that when you know what to do, you're kind of limited. You're limited on your specific setup. You're limited on your specific situation with your grill. But when you know why what you're doing works, that's what allows you to grill on anything, anywhere, anytime. Because you know the fundamentals. You know what adjustments you need to make when you move on to another grill, because you understand the science. Does that make sense? You understand what we're talking about today. So I hope this video helped you. We just got you a new operating system installed. Give it a try and let me know, right? Give it a try. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything that was confusing to you, if there's anything you need additional help with. That's why we're here. And go check out that Grill Smarter bundle. I'll drop a link down to it below. As always, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for everything you do. Until next time, grill boldly, serve proudly, and enjoy the process. Thank you so much for watching Daddy DIY Grilling. Until next time, grill boldly, serve proudly, and enjoy the process. I want to give a big shout out to our channel members. It's because of your generous support that we're able to keep creating and sharing these grilling resources. You're a huge part of this community, and we couldn't do it without you.